Hello there, boys and girls of the internet. Jacky Wolf, back from the dead. And we do actually have a lot to cover in this short time span of a video. And I hope that you absolutely love it, because I absolutely love you. So without further ado, let's jump into it with this first little video clip.
So again, when people say, what can I do? You can vote, you can get out the vote, and you can do so as soon as possible. 10 states, as I said, on Friday started their early voting the day that we lost Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
But to be clear, you're not taking any arrows out of your quiver. You're not ruling anything out.
Good morning, Sunday morning. We have a responsibility. We take an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. We have a responsibility to meet the needs of the American people.
Now, what I think happened in this situation is, well, Trump derangement syndrome is starting to cause them to go into complete lax. Their brains just do not function anymore, and it's becoming a bad thing. And this is coming from a guy that only recently became a whatever you want to call me now. But we do have other news stories to cover. And I wanted to start with this because this is important to me to showcase that I believe that the Democrats are losing their minds, as are their extreme far left constituents. Alright, so we're going to get into the first news story of the day, and that is woman suspected of sending ricin to the White House arrested near Canada border. Now, for those of you who do not know, for those of you who are unaware, while I was unable to record a video or talk about news topics type thing, this actually happened. Somebody had sent a letter to, I believe it was Donald Trump, that was containing ricin, which is a very deadly poison. It is a terrible thing to do, and it has been done to at least a few times. Now, there's a lot of this that they cannot go into because this is a joint operation between the Canadian Mounties and the United States FBI. But an arrest was made in the investigation of an envelope addressed to the White House that was intercepted Saturday and deemed suspicious. The FBI said in a statement Sunday. The Associated Press, yada yada yada. A woman was taken into custody by U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers at the Peace Bridge border crossing near Buffalo and is expected to face federal charges, the officer said. Her name was not immediately released. Packages sent to the Pentagon suspected to contain ricin, suspicious envelopes sent to Trump amid scare at Crew's office in Texas. This is starting to sound like a coordinated mail terror attack. The individual who was arrested is believed to be the person who sent the letter, according to the FBI field office. According to the Mayo Clinic, ricin is poisonous and can be produced from waste that results from processing castor beans. There is no vaccine or antidote for the poison. And just a reminder, in 2018, a Navy veteran confessed to sending it to the White House in 2014. This is an extremely deadly substance, and yeah, this is not good. I don't care what your political beliefs are. You should not be doing shit like that. At all. At all, my dudes. At all. But, yeah. So, apparently Trump is killing Puerto Rico 2 days after it announced that nearly $13 billion are going to aid in Puerto Rico rebuilds for a hurricane that happened 3 years ago. The funding is a grant from the FEMA you know who they are. I'm not going to read out Federal Emergency Management Administration every fucking time. That comes to help Puerto Rico, who is struggling to fully recover from the devastation of Hurricane Maria 3 years ago. One of the things, though, is, if I remember correctly, it wasn't necessarily the United States or Trump that mismanaged Maria. It was the local governments of Puerto Rico. And one of the things that we need to do with Puerto Rico is either figure out if it's going to be, if it's going to continue being an independent, well, a half-assed independent, whatever it is, or if it's going to actually join the states. Because at this point in time, we pay tax money and stuff to go to Puerto Rico that they don't pay back to us. They don't give into a system, but we constantly prop them up as it is. So they either need to join as a full state or they need to go back to being a full country. And that's just my honest opinion. I don't hate Puerto Rico. But San Juan, mayor fires back at Trump. Tweet about to aid Puerto Rico. Speaking from White House podium, Trump blamed Democrats for blocking funding for Puerto Rico and said that former Vice President Joe Biden devastated the island of Puerto Rico. And in many ways, this is actually true. Puerto Rico's aid and a lot of stuff like that were stopped. Even medical supplies were left, or medical food stores were left rotting on freaking docks and stuff. But, you know, they're not going to talk about that. They're pulling something from 3 years ago to take it out of context so that people go, oh, Orange Man bad, Orange Man bad. It's more Trump derangement syndrome, and it is getting way too out of hand. I am not a big fan of this. More Trump called deranged after blaming blue states for coronavirus death toll. Oh, well, now we're swinging it back to the coronavirus. ABC News, John Cohen pointed out that presser Trump reveals on Puerto Rico, citing that Trump previously blasted the territory for corruption and vowing not to approve additional aid. He also questioned why the president changed his stance on Congress giving money to Puerto Rico. Because Trump is a businessman, and he may have wanted to give money to Puerto Rico, but he wanted them to actually start getting rid of the corruption involved. Puerto Rico's infrastructure, for those of you who do not know, before Maria, is actually worse than the mining infrastructure that I currently work on. The feeder systems that power my little town in the foothills of the Appalachians is actually more advanced than most of the power grids within the entirety of Puerto Rico. I actually have better quality internet, and you hear me constantly bitching about not having internet access. So, yeah, Puerto Rico has a lot of problems that do need to be fixed. And it's a slow-going process, but it does need to be fixed. Secondly, there was also the problem of corruption, with, as I stated before, that food, medical supplies, water, everything was just left rotting on the docks and stuff because the Puerto Ricans didn't do anything with it. The government said no. So, yeah, before you speak, remember. So, for those of you who are a little bit odd, crazy, and, well, you hate my guts because I disagree with your Marxism. You know, it's one of those weird things. I just disagree with it. But, when it comes down to it, far-left DC Marxist group caught on video training supporters on how to kick in Linsy Gram's door. Protest planned for Monday a.m. This is a scary thought because we're already on the cusp of a cold civil war. And the DC Sunrise Movement, a far-left group, published pushing the consumption of foreign energy sources in America is training agitators for a political riot at Senator Linsy Gram's home on Monday morning. Now, take in mind, I am no fan of Linsy Gram. By no means. I'm not an old school establishment Republican. I am in many ways, I am a disaffected liberal turned libertarian. But it's getting bad. It's getting extremely bad because there have been murders. And I have a feeling it's just going to get worse as time wears on. And I really don't want to live in that world. I'm sorry to say, but that's the truth of the matter. Investigative reporter Millie Weaver, Millie Weaver released a video on Sunday night of the radical group's members participating in kicking in his front door and more. This is the modern day left, violent radical Marxists. No, it's really not. There are still liberals on the left that are fairly good people. So it's not fair to do the whole blanket statement thing. Like, it's not fair to do a blanket statement saying that, all conservatives are, the extreme rightist crazies. And among this, you can tell just by this trending tab, Black Lives Matter activists wearing Justice for Breonna Taylor shirt walked into a Louisville bar and murdered 3 people. That's where we are as a society, guys. That's exactly where we are. Attention, Sunrise Movement DC is training educators for a potential riot at Linsy Gram's home at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. And that would be today. This exclusive video shows them practicing kicking in his front door and more. Please help get the word out. Threat. Breaking. Linsy Grams will be targeted at his house 6 a.m. Yeah, see, that's the kind of thing, like, you don't want this happening. Mm-hmm. If you didn't catch enough from that video clip, I am terribly sorry. But I do not promote violence, and I do not like violence, despite the fact that I do support gun riots. This absolutely annoys me and has me quite concerned about the future of my country.
Can I please get my goddamn phone? Somebody. Bring that one up so we can pay for that one, then you put up that phone. Oh, nigga, no, the money was for the problem, nigga. Where that phone at? We put it right phone to the, and we put it up to the nigga.
Now, I have to edit this last one because the black lady kind of loses the control on her, her womanly parts. But that being said, that is no way to act. And apparently that all began over an argument of how Hitler died. I hate to tell you this, I really do, but as far as most historians are concerned, Hitler shot himself in a bunker in Germany. He didn't go on to live a life anywhere else. And I know that that's hard for some people to understand, on both the left and the right, but that is no reason for violence at all. That is a terrible, terrible thing to use as anything. But anyways, I've been Jacky Wolf. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm trying to do a little bit more work into them to make them entertaining and a little bit more, well, showing off my abilities as an editor again. Anyways, until next time, later. So, I had to record an outro for this particular video, so that's what this is. If you like my content, please subscribe, like, comment, and share. I largely grow by word of mouth, even though that's fleeting. I am going to start doing gaming stuff, and probably going back to lore gaming news on top of this kind of news. This channel is a variety channel after all, and I honestly am glad that anybody watches any of my content. Thanks for watching. I've been Jacky Wolf, and I love you all. Have a good one.